Today we're using apple barrel paint in antique white, Laguna, and pumpkin orange. The supplies we're going to be using is Dollar Tree wooden crates, sunflowers from Dollar Tree, scrapbook paper from Hobby Lobby, and ribbon from Dollar Tree. You also need paint brushes, sandpaper, and a paint tray, and masking tape to do this project for the day. Make sure you sand all the way around the wooden crate. Make sure they're splitter free. Take a dry cloth and wipe over it. Make sure it's got all the sand dust off. If you've missed a few spots, like I did, you'll have to sand back over in the rough spots that it didn't get. And repeat the process with wiping it off. Make sure you get the edges really good and smooth. You also need Mod Podge for your scrapbook paper. I'm starting with Laguna color. It takes just a little. It takes a couple coats of each color. Take your time and don't get it in the creases. It's no big deal if you get it in between the creases. You can always go back and touch it up. Do both sides. I find it easier to use the wide paintbrush. That way you can pretty much do it all with one swipe. Stand it on its end and use the painter's tape or masking tape. Get it right underneath the edge of the bottom line. Smooth it out. That way whenever you paint it and remove the tape, you don't have any bleed overs from the paint. You do that on both end caps the same way. When you get it all painted, when you get all that one line painted, you can take off the masking tape and go into the other sections. When it's all done and painted, center your little crate in the middle of where you want the picture at in the center of your page. I put mine in the middle because it looked the best that way. I traced around the box on the cardstock paper. You can make it a little bigger than the box because you're going to be sanding off the sides to make it smooth all the way around. When you get it all traced, you can cut it out. It doesn't have to be straight or perfect, as long as you don't go inside of the line. See how where the little truck is in the middle of the box? I thought that was the perfect one to use for my project. I love doing seasonal crafts. Would you guys like to see more fall decor DIYs, or would you want to see some Christmas? Let me know in the comments below. After I got the paper cut out to the size I need it, I'm going to take my glue stick and I'm going to do the top with a good amount of glue because you don't want no bubbles or creases in it. Go all the way around the edges, good in the center. You get it all good and gluey. Make sure there's no little lumps of glue there. Well, you can tell it on your paper when it dries. Take your paper and you lay it flat on the top. Smooth it out. Get all your edges down real good. Make sure there's no lumps of glue. Make sure the corners is down really good. Now this is where the sandpaper comes in. You're going to get your sandpaper and you're going to run all the way around the crate. Sometimes you might have to sand in more to make sure you get it all off. Try not to pull on it because you will tear your paper. This is where I come in and sand on the corners. I start on a corner and go from side to side. It does take me a little bit to get this one side off. And I wiped off the excess glue that came off with the paper when I sanded it. Go all the way around the box. I have to touch up a spot or two. I'm going to be doing a Grinch one as well when I do my segment in the Grinch DIYs. These are really fun to do. Simple, easy, and really fun. You can do them any way to match your decor of seasonal or all year long decor. I cut my words out Fresh Pumpkin Farm with my Cricut. You can print it off if you don't have a Cricut. I'm going to try to leave the link down in my description below for you to print that out. That font, in case I can't download it, is called Skinny. It's on DaFont.com. It's like the Ray Dunn font. It's about as close on DaFont that you can get. Lay them down to make sure that I have them in the order that I need them, and they're going to fit in the lines that I want them on. They're not too tall or too long. I'm going to start out with the farm. Let me know if you want to see some Cricut tutorials on how to do things like layering or downloading fonts. Let me know in the link in the comments below of what you like. Having trouble to getting my paper to come apart where I can put the logo on. We're going to use, after you get all the wordings on there, you're going to cut ribbon the length that you need to go all the way around the box. You're going to start on the inside of the box on one side. You're going to hot glue it down. I made sure that it was going to be long enough where I want it positioned. Hold it in place with one of my fingers to make sure it's going to be in where I want it. I fixed me a shoestring bow. I didn't want it to cover the front of my truck, so I scooted it down. That's about where I want to do it at, and put my bow on. Make sure it's not going to overhang too bad. Then place my flower on it. Make sure my placements is going to be about right. This is where I go and glue the ribbon down where I want it. Flipped it over to make it easier to lay flat. Place the ribbon several times to make sure it's exactly where I want it. Don't want to glue it down and it not be where I want it. Make sure I have enough ribbon on each side even. Use a little bit of glue. Hold it down, make sure it's firm. Wrap it around and do the other side just the same way. I'm going to hot glue the bow on. To keep your ribbon from fraying when you do your cuts on the end of the ribbon, you can use nail polish or you can use a lighter and just will barely scorch the end. You're not going to tell it, and it keeps it from fraying. Place my bow where I need it. You can dovetail those, or you can do it cut the way I did. Now I'm going to hot glue the sunflower on. I think the colors clashed really well in person. I'm going to glue the side of the tails down where it won't pull and tug to it and rip it off eventually. I really liked how this came out. This was my favorite one. See how cute. And this is what it looks like on the side view. I'm using Waverly's cashew, thankful sign from Dollar Tree. Scrap paper from Hobby Lobby. A frame that I had in my stash. I'm going to start off by doing a coat of the cashew. Waverly's paint dries quickly. Some things you have to do more than one coat. I think I did 2 coats on this. I painted each letter and in between each letter the same color cashew. Waverly's paint's kind of thick. I usually use Waverly's white for my base coat a lot of times. After I get it all painted, I come in with sandpaper and lightly sand around the edges of all the letters to give it like a rustic look. I'll also do that in between each of the letters as well. Also do it on some of the letters to give it that rustic look on the letters. That's your choice if you want to do that. I debated on doing the sanding or the stitching, and so I went with the sanding. It matches my decor a little better. You can't really tell it in the picture, but it comes out really nicely. Some spots was a little rougher to sand. It seemed like it didn't want to come off. Best thing about painting, if you don't like how it looks, you can go over it with another color. Here I am going in between each of the letters. Seemed like it really didn't want to come off in between like around the T and the A and the N there. It was a little rough getting off. As you see, as I take two pieces of cardstock and piece it together on one board because I couldn't find the cardstock long as I would need it. But the way after I glued it on there, you'll see you can't really tell I pieced it together the way the letters fell in the crease. That I was so worried that you would be able to tell it, but I'm glad that you couldn't. My frame came that color, so it blended in with the cardstock really well. Make sure that you don't have any chunks of glue from your glue stick because it will show through your cardstock. I like working with glue sticks because, like, if you don't get it on there very good the first time, you can move it until you get it just right, and it won't mess up your cardstock compared to Mod Podge. And the way I cut this is my colors kind of like blended in really good. They wouldn't offset. I was a little worried about that too when I glued it down. What's your favorite holiday to decorate for and do crafts? Leave it in the comments below. I think my favorite one to decorate would be Christmas. Because I do my house in Grinch. So I do crafts for Grinch theme. What theme would you like to see for Christmas? This is where I smooth it all out. You can tell the line where they go together here, but when I put the thankful on there, you can't really tell it. It camouflages it. Now I'm ready to put the frame together. These little tabs are a devil to get your frame back together. But it holds it in really good. I didn't use any kind of glue after I installed it, the backing on, in case I want to change it later in the future. I can reuse it and it won't tear my cardboard. Push it down really good and firm and make sure it's in there, and then I start closing the tabs one by one. I think those are like staples. They can sometimes be a little hard to work with. Now I'm going to take my thankful and I'm going to use hot glue. I use quite a bit. I go around each letter to make sure it's going to be on there real good. The thankful barely fit in this frame, but I loved how it turned out. I didn't find a need to paint the back of it because where I was going to have it glued down. Sometimes I paint the back of my stuff, especially if you can see it. See where I went in between each of the letters to like I make it a rustic look. We're using burnt umber and barn red and apple barrel. Turkey ornament from Dollar Tree. A little frame from Dollar Tree. Cardstock from Hobby Lobby. We'll start off by taking off the little rolling pin. Try not to break it because I'm going to be using this in a later project. It was a little tough getting that block off without breaking it. Some of the wood came off, but that's okay. I'll try to peel off what I can with my fingers, and then I'm going to take sandpaper and smooth it flat where it won't be a rough texture of gluing it. And I'm going to try to pop off the back of it really gently. It's giving me some trouble. It started coming off a little bit, tearing the paper real bad. There's a little devil there, getting it off. So I'll come in here with a tool that I keep for crafts, and it looks like a little pry bar pitchfork looking tool, but it came off really good using that tool. Just pried right up. I went around all four corners, all the way around it. It's no big deal if you tear the paper on it, because I'm going to be taking it off anyhow. Still be gentle because you don't want to break the board. See where I have a lot of that paper came off. So I'm going to try to pull off what I can with my fingers, making a mess with it. I'm going to take a flathead screwdriver that's in this toolkit, scrape as much as I can with the glue. I think it was just taking a little longer than what I wanted, so I just gave up on it and finished cleaning it off camera. It was really on there. If you don't get all that off, you're going to be able to see it when you glue down your back. So try to get as much as you can off. This little kit that I have, I'll tell you later in the video where I got it from. It's my favorite tool kit. It's got all kinds of little screwdriver pieces. It's got 9 pieces, as you see there. Still trying to get some of that paper off. I swear it did not want to come off for nothing. I about gave up on it. There, I think I got it. Yep. This is a Stanley set. I got it from Walmart. I'll try to leave a link down below for it, but I really like it. I started painting with the barn red. Used a baby wipe. I was just wanting to, where it's got the wood grain texture, I really didn't want to cover the wood grain texture up on it. I was really wanting that red barn to be the one I wanted to paint the frame, but like I said once before in my videos, best thing about painting, you can always take it off and redo it or paint over it. It would have matched my other frame so perfect. My thankful frame that I did in another video. See where I'm using the baby wipe and wiping it on. I didn't get the coverage as I wanted, so I decided to take a paintbrush and says, a couple coats will do. Boy, wasn't I wrong. It looked like I literally did not do anything to it. It wasn't covering like I wanted it to. It was blotchy in spots. So I decided to paint a couple corners, figuring I'll let this one side dry and come back to it. Hit this side. Give it a coat. This little frame that we're doing here, this little project, I got the dupe from Walmart. So I seen the cute little picture frame. I guess that's what you want to call it. At Walmart, and I'm like, I could totally make that a lot cheaper because I already had everything in my craft stash, so I wasn't out anything. See, I go back over it with a second coat. I coated it a little better, but not what I wanted. So I said, time to take it off. So I'm using a baby wipe to wipe it off. Getting in the creases there where it was got in the wood grain creases. I was just not satisfied with that coats. So then I go back and after I get it all off and dried, I go back in with my burnt umber paint. And I did like a couple coats with it. And when I done my coats, I done all the way around it, inside, and on the front part of it. I'm going to set that over to the side and let it dry, and I'm going to take this paper off. Try to get off as much as I can. What didn't come off, I finally gave up and took sandpaper and sanded where the paper didn't come off, where it wasn't raised up any. See, there's my finished painted frame. Like I said, I used the burnt umber. So I'm going to get my little board, backboard. I took that plaster filler that Dollar Tree sells and put in a hole there to cover up the hole. I didn't like how my burnt umber paint went on. I used a baby wipe for this to give it like the wood stain look. I liked how that turned out. It turned out really cute. I think I go over that little spot there several times and it just did not cover up. I've seen several people use hot glue. I've not tried that. I think the next time I do a hole filler, I'm going to use hot glue. They lay it on a surface to glue it and pop it off. But that really popped that little turkey really good with that color. Like I said, I try to do several coats on that top part there where I filled it in, and it just wasn't giving me the color texture I wanted. I think I wiped off a little more paint than I wanted to. No big deal. I'll go back in there and touch it up. This was a cute little project I did. That top part there with the hole was really giving me some trouble. It really was. It seemed like the more I put on it and tried to blend it, the worse it looked. He's about done right there. I think that's about where I want him. Take my turkey, my frame, and done them both in the burnt umber. I'm going to take my cardstock and lay my backboard on over top of it, trace over it. Trying to line it up really good where I don't have too much overhang. That way I don't have to use my sandpaper and sand off a whole lot. Trace it on two sides. Cut it out on the lines that I traced it. Make sure it covers it. Take my glue stick and cover the back of it. Buy my glue sticks a lot of time at the Dollar Tree or at the beginning of the school year when they go on sale. You get a big old pack of them for a couple bucks. Cover the whole piece of paper pretty good. Make sure there's no clunky pieces of glue stick on it, because when it dries it will go, you'll be able to see the little hump. Take it and lay it over top of my piece of board. I love using glue sticks because you mess up, you can peel it up and it not mess it up. And then I rub my fingers over the corners, smooth it all out, make sure it's all flat. No bumps, no creases. Looks really good and professional look. And I take my sandpaper and I go around some of the sides that's sticking out. Not a whole lot of it is. Don't forget to comment, give me thumbs up, and hit the subscribe button. Your first time seeing my channel, thanks for coming and viewing. If you're one of my subscribers, thank you for subscribing. So how many has their tree up by now? I usually wait till the 1st of December to put mine up. Get this all squared away. Lay my frame over top of it. Make sure it fits real good and snug. Pop the back on. Make sure it fits. No overhang. Look pretty good. I'm going to pop it back out. Add me about 4 dots of hot glue in the corners. Must have missed a spot or two here on this cardstock. This is where I go in with my glue gun. And I do a dab in all 4 corners. Just a little bit. 1 or 2 of them I did a little too much, and you'll see me try to pluck it. I try to be very careful and not tear my craft paper. Pop my back on. See in the corner there where I got too much glue seepage? I took my weeding tool on my Cricut to get that off. Well, first I tried a toothpick and that didn't work. I just broke it. It dried too quick to use a toothpick. Then I tried to pluck it out with my fingers. That didn't work either. It's in too tight of a spot to even barely get. Then I come in with my Cricut pick and pulled up on it. I thought I tore my paper, but I'm glad I didn't. So be very gentle if you do this. I was very nervous when I did this. Crafters makes mistakes just like you guys. We just go back over it and touch it up. It really did not want to come out, that last one. It really didn't. It was giving me a lot of trouble. I'm going to take my little block that at the beginning of the video, trying to find the center spot where it needs to go. Put a dab of glue on it. Put it back. Try to get it as center as I can. Push firmly hard down on it to where it will stick and not move. Just a little crooked, but no big deal. Nobody can see it. Then I lay my turkey over top of it, make sure it's good and where it needs to be. Now I'm going to come in with some vinyl. And it's going to have Talk Turkey to Me. This contact paper just did not want to work with me. It took some of my letters, so it made me very upset. Sure, it's giving me some issue. It's not sticking too good, so I'll go over the back of it, try to get it to stick. I try to take my time. I don't want to pull a letter off or lose a letter. But it seems like that's exactly what happened. I've lost a few letters. You can see when I get the paper completely off, there's a few letters I had to go back and put on. Let me know which one of the three is your favorite one. I'm going over to the top again with my pick, trying to smooth it out. I mean, that contact paper was really not working with me. I see some people do the snap method. I am so not brave yet to do that. I've been using a Cricut for several years, and I still haven't got the braveness to do the snap method. For some odd reason, my paper would stick to the back of my letters. And here lately it's been doing it quite often. I don't know if it's the vinyl or if it's the contact paper or what, but It's been doing it quite often here lately. I'm telling you, it is giving me a really rough time on this vinyl. And then I got my finger stuck onto the letters. The letters started coming up. I was just not having any luck with this vinyl. If you don't have a Cricut, you can handwrite it out, or you can find something online that says that, and you can print it off. But if I have any Grinch fans out there, I'm going to be posting some Grinch easy DIYs in my upcoming videos, so stay tuned for that. And I finally got it off. My K got stuck to my finger. But at the end, I had to recut the K out. Had to cut, I think, the ALK out and the O on 2. Because it was messed up. It didn't lay. I guess it still had some of the paper from the vinyl on it, so it didn't want to stick. Trying to fix my K, and it's wanting to stick in the opposite direction where I want to put it. That little decal gave me so much trouble. I was beginning to wonder if it was worth the cut. There's the T that got stuck to my finger from the 2. It was just a big mess. Here I am trying to fix my letters. They about really messed it all up. I almost got so mad I was ready to start over on a whole decal at this point. Just did not want to stick. When I finally did get it stick, they moved. Let me know down below if you like to see some Cricut tutorial videos. I finally got it to where I want to stick it on there. So I'm trying to rub over it to get it to stick nice to the wood. The O would not stick for nothing. I told you this whole decal was a headache from the start. I didn't want to stick. So I had to recut out the letters that wouldn't stick down. Off camera, I fixed it. The T was crooked, so I had to go in and fix it. I went ahead and glued the turkey on. Got a string of glue there. I glued my little turkey on. I just thought he was so stinking cute. I love my little turkey, and there he is, all lettered